I found my Twitter from when I was trying to be an OnlyFans model. Child. Listen, one way or another, I was gonna pay my rent. It's not funny, but it is. Hi, my name is Joy, and I've lived a lot of lives. A lot of them. Lot of 'em. My OnlyFans probably lasted all of a month. My conscience would not. I could not. I could not. I could not. I could not. Ew. And obviously, no disrespect to anybody who's on the platform. It's just my devotion to higher powers, God, Jesus, the angels, my ancestors. Honey, I couldn't stomach it. I couldn't stomach it. And I know that when people talk to me directly, right, they feel this sense of comfort. And this is me regurgitating what I've what feedback I've gotten in various careers and in various friendships and associations. And I think at that time, that more so was the goal, right? To try to acquire some people who would be willing to pay for these types of intimate conversations that I can lovingly provide, and also be trusted with information that the world may not know about you. And so, like, I was trying to get on those sites for those types of things, right? And I was having a little trouble. So I still be having trouble. Like, y'all, I promise y'all, I thought about I invented the certified hugger position. I know I ain't the person that made the website, but I promise y'all, like that's something out of my noggin in my heart. And so same premise, but some of the sites that I found were geared more towards like mental health. And for me, at that moment in time, I didn't have the bandwidth for those types of conversations, like ones where people, need additional support outside of their scheduled therapy, or maybe they haven't started therapy yet and they kind of need to be guided in that way. I didn't really have the bandwidth for that at that time. And so the next best thing in my head was OnlyFans. Like you pay for the experience, right? And I knew that I could market the girlfriend experience, so to say, without necessarily providing nudity. That Twitter page said something different. The Twitter page was given, I was willing to do it all. And so I guess I must have paused the page or something because when I logged back in, like, cause I know I had taken it down, but I got nosy about something that DJ Vlad posted, and I think, you know, you know how X be, they don't be wanting you to see it unless you log in. So I was like, I know I got a page. I just got to figure out the credentials, and that's the one that I figured out. And I forgot literally until I logged in and saw the type of tweets I had tweeted. And then I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I got to get rid of this page, like indefinitely. The problem is everything that's on the internet lives forever. So I deactivated the page, but it's probably somebody somewhere could probably get access to that. Yeah. And I would stand beside my old self. If anybody asked about it, I would be like, yeah, that was I was trying to feed myself and my son. I was trying to make sure we had an apartment to stay in. I was a single mom and I wasn't receiving any support from my soon to be ex-husband. So that's what it was. That's what it was. And to me, if somebody's gonna line themselves up to judge about that, they really need to turn that judgment onto the United States of America. Because between the United States of America being the supposed most powerful nation in the world and being the media center of the world, why is it that we make so little here? Because I did have a job. That we make so little here, but have to work so hard here, and it's not enough. It's not enough. At that time, I was working, I think I made it before I began to work three jobs at one time for the second time in a row, like in a short span of time. So I was working, I think I was working the one part-time job and I was like steady trying to get more hours, steady trying to get them to make me full-time, steady trying to be the best I could be, which meant I was doing other people work, doing my work, doing, it's just like got somebody you paying minimum wage making training materials and stuff. I ain't gonna forget. I don't care how many times you change your name or get bought by somebody else. I'm never gonna forget. I'm thankful for the part in the journey that you played because I ended up having to go back to work for them after leaving the career I ended up earning after that space and time. So I'm grateful. Mhm. 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 So yeah, like that's the why. If you gonna judge, you need to judge our government. And I know everybody's judging our government right now. So, I mean, when is it gonna change? When is the person who and let me stop right there. Let me put a pin in that. Technically, technically, I should probably qualify for disability at this point. I really should. Especially given that when I got to the career that I earned and worked so hard to get to, they outed my diagnosis and they created a terrible workplace environment for me after that. And I was told by the director of HR that I should find another career. And uh, they violated HIPAA by releasing a private conversation where I was trying to support my supervisor and let her know that her mother's diagnosis didn't have to be a death sentence because my own diagnosis hasn't been a death sentence and I'm still living despite how many things I've had to go through with my diagnosis and even able to achieve the position. And of course, the story is that she was bullied into disclosing that, and that's why they violated HIPAA and blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Either way, either way, given that that happened, and it did increase my stress, which did increase my inflammation, which did increase the amount of flare ups that I ended up having, baby, I should be at home on disability. Yet I go to work every day. Every day. If I have to miss a day at work, especially after that experience, very traumatizing, very embarrassing, very somebody needs to pay me for that experience. But because it was a government entity, it's kind of been hard, right? But anyways, I should be at home getting some cha-ching, but I'm not. And a part of why I'm not is because it's so hard for people who are truly, disabled to even get the stuff. It took a while. At the time of that position, I actually did not consider myself to be disabled. I considered myself to be a person with uh, what is it? I wouldn't even say a long-term illness, which in hindsight it is. But back then, I was still in my Captain Save-A-Hole era. So you couldn't tell me that I couldn't do any and everything that I want to do. So back then, I didn't consider that. But now, Absolutely. I absolutely should have every accommodation that I can get. I absolutely should. I absolutely should. And I absolutely shouldn't have to be subjected to any type of environment that's going to pose a risk of high stress. Absolutely. Now that is that is in hindsight to this position, right? Of course I could handle it. Of course I'm strong, I'm fit enough, I'm able-bodied enough. I could handle it and do it better than all of the other people, right? But in hindsight to everything I had to go through after they did what they did, honey, please, I will put my feet up. I will. I will put my feet up and I will say very politely that this is above my pay grade when it is, right? I will never ever risk myself anymore in the ways that I did in that job and prior to, which brings me back to my original points of our system tells us over and over again, if you are not doing all of this, you're not doing enough. And for me, and the way I grew up, that was a recipe for disaster because I could only rise to the occasion. I didn't have room to fail, right? And so when I look at that time period where I was working my ASS off, trying to demonstrate exactly what they already knew, that I was capable, intelligent, and able and willing. I was trying to demonstrate that in a way so that my salary could match that, right? And I wasn't getting anywhere with this company, and I'm throwing in applications everywhere. And I don't necessarily want to leave the company because it was a decent company to work for in terms of like low stress, right? It was nowhere near like what I ended up going to. And so I didn't want to lose that. But I just didn't make enough to pay for my life and my son's life and everything. So OnlyFans was looking like a viable solution. Child, I ended up going to work for, uh, well, I think I signed an NDA. I went to work for a call center type of company, but it was remote. And so the job that I'm speaking of that I didn't pay enough was also remote. And then I also had acquired another position at a nursing home. And baby, I fell asleep at that damn nursing home. They ain't fire me though. I quit because I was embarrassed. And let me tell you what happened with that. That's a funny story actually. So I'm at work. I was working in the like the Alzheimer's dementia wing. And so, baby, them people be doing crazy stuff, first of all. But second of all, they was TV time. And they had Walgreens come and give us our flu shot. So and I said, I better not get this flu shot here because knowing me, I'm gonna be ready to go to sleep or, whatever. But they were kind of peer pressuring, like we already know you had because it was like kind of it wasn't during COVID, but it was like still freshly in that area of COVID. And so like we already know you got your COVID shots because you couldn't work there if you didn't have it. Um, but you need your flu shot. Like you got to get it. And Walgreens will be here today, 8 to 1. So you're gonna get it. Like they were like on that time, right? And so I went on and got the pokey. And baby, about an hour later, I'm sitting there. At first, I wasn't sitting, I was standing because I was working, but I could feel myself like sleepy. So I drank some water, and I'm still like, that did it for 2 seconds. Look at me. This is the same way I felt there. Like, where I'm like, I got stuff to do, but I think I had like 6 hours left in my shift. Like it's no way I'm gonna make it though. But I had that pressure of not taking off or not leaving early when you need to, because that's another part of the work, work. You don't even want to leave work when you need to. Yeah, and so I had got everybody situated in front of the TV, and I was keeping an eye on the little freaky birds that, like to sneak off and rub on each other. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, and I did it. I was like, oh, good. Nobody see it. Okay, I'm good. Stand up. So I stood up, sat back down. Same thing. And I'm like, oh, shoot. I think that was the time. Then, like, the boss, he kind of like pointed to me, not in a mean way. He was not mean about it at all. But, he pointed and he motioned over. So I went over to the side. He's like, you can go home. It's no. He's like, you good. Like, we all get tired from here from time to time. I was so embarrassed. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like the flu shot and I'm tired and all of that stuff. He's like, it's okay. Just come back tomorrow. It's okay. Come back tomorrow. So I left, and like I said, I was so embarrassed. I perked up with that fresh air, of course, once I got out of there. And, I thought to myself, like, man, I should just go back in. And I'm like, nah, you really need to go home. So that was happening. That happened, and I quit. I literally quit. I was just like, I'm not going back. And of course, they asked why and do an exit service, survey and stuff. But I just was like, I'm embarrassed. Like in hindsight, maybe I could have just went back to work. But again, this was one of three jobs, so it wasn't just the flu shot. It was I was exhausted. I got a child. I got get to and from school. I got three jobs now. I got and that one was supposed to be full time. That's why I took it on. But I hadn't quit the other two because I'm like, well, what if being in person is not going to be good for me being a single mom? Like I had reasons why I was like not trying to quit the other two until I made sure that one was going to be okay. And yeah, so with all that being said, judge your mama, judge the United States government, and give me some money if you got enough money to not feel like you gotta offer some services in exchange for money. I can provide you my Cash App if you'd like it. PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, Yobox, any of those. If you want to send me some money, that's okay. Until then, though, I hope this video helped somebody. If it did, please share it, like it, subscribe. Tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me if you ever had to do anything that was like, I wouldn't have did that if I wasn't stressed out. Let me know and talk to me, and then I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day, great morning, great evening, and bye.